So with that said, there's just a lot of action, I think, on the defensive side for the Packers, or excuse me, for the Packers offense against this Giants defense. I would be, if it's me, I would be as excited at this opportunity as I have been all year. Monday Night Football game. They give up 136 or something like that point or yards on the ground. Hopefully, Aaron Jones is coming back. I don't know the status. I'm doing the show a day early. Let's talk about some matchups that I like, or matchups that I'm going to find. Let's say we're finding interesting. So the first one is the one I talked about. It's Giants second rounder John Smith Jr., the center versus TJ versus Kenny Clark. I think the guy has good footwork. He's a good player. You can see where he got drafted in the second round. And they ask him to do a lot of single blocks play side, which is a center's job. But it was almost like foretelling the way that if he won, the play did well. If he was pushed back into the line, obviously the play went very poorly, but they kept running those plays. They like to win with their middle zone scheme. I think it's a good scheme for Saquon. But you want to force, you think about a guy as explosive as Saquon Barkley, what you're really trying to do is force that early cut. Get that backside pursuit hot, and be able to track him down. Second matchup is Tommy DeVito versus the Packers pass rush. And I'm not saying that their offensive line, I'm really talking about the quarterback, because I think the quarterback feels this pressure. I think after last week or their last game versus New England, you have to say 6 sacks. That's not a pass rush specialist team. Obviously, the secondary has something to do with that as well. But I showed you on tape, there's guys open, there's checkdowns to be had, and maybe he's looking for more. Maybe he's feels like he's getting heated up a little bit, cat on a hot tin roof kind of thing, happy feet. But he's not afraid to let it rip. But having said that, this Green Bay Packers team, in particular at the outside linebacker defensive end spot, has shown a proclivity to be able to beat guys, especially backups, and do some damage in the pass rush game. So I think this is going to be a real interesting matchup. If you can hold this guy to 180 yards passing, and you get sacked 6 times, you expect the victory. And then the third matchup is really the matchup of motions. Who's going to win the motion? Both offenses are using motion to make this a lot easier game for the quarterback, to ID fronts, to ID coverages, to create confusion, just to clear the picture for their starting quarterback. And which group does a better job of creating confusion on that secondary and providing clarity for that quarterback, I think is going to go a long way to say who can score more points. Certainly, I think when you look roster on roster, the Packers roster is more talented than the New York Giants roster right now. But these things are important. Now, the Packers started off the game last week, and they ran a ton of motion. They're doing a lot of under center stuff. Like all the stuff we've been talking about is like, how do you make this game as easy as possible and as effective as possible given the personnel you have? Well, Matt has figured it out, that formula right now, and they're doing a great job with it. So keys to victory. Number 1, winning first down. The linebackers are playing off the line of scrimmage. Dexter Lawrence may play, may not play, has a hamstring, might be limited. But they play off the line of scrimmage. They tip when they're coming. In other words, they move up when they're actually going to dog. So you have to get 4, 5+ yards on first down in the running game. You have to make sure your double teams work. I don't feel like Thibodeau, especially playing stand-up, is a guy that's going to beat you at the point of attack if you're Yash or Rashid. I think those matchups are ones we need to look forward to. I think that if you get a slip look or a double team with the tight end and the tackle, you should expect to get vertical displacement and get up to the linebacker because the linebacker's not shooting. So this is an opportunity to win on first down and really open up the menu on third down so you can be as effective as possible moving the sticks like we talked about last week. Number 2, part of that is going to be these line of scrimmage checks. They're not pulling a ton of punches in the secondary. Like what you see is what you get. You run some motion, you're going to figure out, are they in quarters? Are they in man? What are they? Are they going to run, a 4 shell? They're going to run man coverage. Are they bringing a guy and they're going to drop back into his zone? I mean, it's all there. It's not an easy read. This is a hard game, but this team doesn't seem to hide stuff as well as maybe some of the other ones. So, are you going to have answers at the line of scrimmage for your for different coverages? So if you unearth something Are we verbal, nonverbal communication? Are we going to be able to, what did we talk about last week, right? Identify, communicate, and execute. And then I think number 3 is obvious to everybody. Stop Saquon Barkley. Make this a game about Tommy DeVito. Make Tommy DeVito throw for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns to beat you. You know, if he pulls a Jake Browning, I mean, hats off to Jake Brown. Really, hats off to Zach Taylor. I think after the first series in that Bengals game, I'm out there going like, are they really going to run this kind of? It looked like punt, pass, and kick offense out there for the first series or two, and then all of a sudden Zach's just like, you know what, dude, we're just going to run the same stuff. We still have Jamar Chase, we still have Mixon, like we still have guys, and Jake Browning went out there and just absolutely balled out. So if Tommy DeVito goes out there and absolutely balls out like that, he doesn't have the firepower to. I think personally, or with the players that they have, they don't have a Jamar Chase, they don't have a Joe Mixon. They do have a Joe Mixon. That's not fair. But if he goes out there, you just tip your hat to him and move on to the next game. I just don't think they have that. So stop Saquon Barkley. Put this guy in third and long situations. Heat him up. Pocket presence is an issue. This is the kind of stuff you're looking for. And I think that 6 points. Listen, you're in New York. It's a road game. It's going to be a difficult environment. Certainly, Monday Night Football is a whole new schedule. You got to get used to that. You know, but for me, on situations like this, I look at it like, this is one of those games. If you're trying to establish yourself and you're now in the wild card, and again, let's look at the schedule. You got the Giants, the Bucks, the Panthers, the Vikings, and the Bears. Where's the loss there? I mean, Mike Evans could have a huge game for Tampa, and they something happens there maybe. The Vikings certainly are capable of beating you. Even with, whoever's going to play quarterback. If Justin Jefferson's back and with that defense, they have a chance. Danielle Hunter's playing that lights out. But really, you look at this, and you're going to be favored in 4, if not 5 of these games. And so it's a question now of how do you want to go into the playoffs? And getting these not easy wins, but wins where you rack up a lot of points and confidence against bad teams. Because the New York Giants are a bad team. They're 4 and 8, and they're averaging 13 points a game. But you should win this game handily. So it's how you win these games, how you feel about your performance. Maybe not even on the scoreboard, but how you feel about your performance in your groups, in your offensive line, your defensive line, your linebacker. How you feel about how you performed. How many mental errors did you have or not have? How many opportunities did you leave out on the field? Like, you want to clean all that stuff up and continue to build momentum as you get into the end of December and into the playoff situation. You start slotting for different opportunities to go play one of those top 3 teams, because I think the top 3 teams in the NFC are all really, really good teams. Talking about the Niners, the Eagles, and the Cowboys, probably in that order. So 6-point game. I actually think this spread's not big enough. I think it probably widens by the end. It depends probably on the injury report. This is one of those games where this injury report is going to be telling. Evan Neal comes back, that changes things. Darren Waller's not coming back, but if Dexter Lawrence plays versus not playing, I think that's a huge thing for them as well. Tyrod Taylor being available and not going, that's interesting. I mean, there's a lot of things going on, and certainly on the Green Bay Packers side, Aaron, Jair, there's a lot of guys that you could be able to get back right now, and if that's the case, certainly those 2 alone would add a ton to this offense and defense, respectively. So another chance to prove yourself. Another opportunity to go out, especially on the national stage. I think it should be a lot of fun. Enjoy the game, guys. Enjoy the weekend. You can find me at Mike168 on Twitter. Hit that like button. Subscribe, rate, and review us on our Process to Perform channel on YouTube. And until next time, we will be drinking whiskey until Monday night.